Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host. That's right, co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the closing bell for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. I'm back, at least for today. When you feel as comfortable and confident in the other co-hosts with SouthSide Riley, able to pick up the ball, the hockey puck, the football, the golf ball, the tennis ball, whatever it is, I can take care of other matters. And that's why we are such a team here at ECSI. A lot of action tonight. MLB, NBA, NHL series starting in both leagues. Last night, if you took the banana in the tailpipe, shame on you. No Embiid, no problem. As there's a guy called Doc Rivers on the other side that says, James, let's take care of business. And they did at the Garden where my daughter was last night. They steal game one. And after the Bruins losing game 7, it hasn't been a good couple days. The Red Sox won, though. They beat the Blue Jays in Berrios last night. So a lot to talk about. So let's bring in the co-host, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Afternoon, Riley.
Afternoon, my friend. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Good to be back with you. As you and I haven't gotten to meet up on these closing bells the last week and a half or so. So glad to be with you here. We obviously still got Boston sports team in action in the playoffs. So. As far as yesterday's show, I told you off air. I certainly wasn't sitting here waving around and screaming Philly money line from the mountaintop, but I was at least saying pump the brakes. These injury things aren't as straight up as they always are. So, and then as far as baseball, I think I was 1-1 on my leans. The Red Sox, catching Barrios for a few. I actually don't know if he gave up the runs or if it was our bullpen or not. But I was on the fade Barrios lean there, and then the other one was I think I was expecting Drew Smyly to regress a little bit for the Cubs, and that one didn't happen. So maybe next time we'll be looking at Drew Smyly, expecting some runs allowed. But nonetheless, I am happy to have you back, my friend. Handful of baseball, a couple of basketball and hockey as well tonight.
We haven't talked, you and I, for a while. So before we dive into the card, just want to go your thoughts on the Packer draft. The Rodgers to the Jets finally officially happened. The draft in general, if I remember correctly, not one but 2 tight ends, if that was correct. Assess the draft and your thoughts for your Packers.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to throw at another one of my teams, and I was going to have to grab my paper bag for my head, but we might get there in a second. But no, the Packers. Yeah, you were right. 2 tight ends, one in the second round, one in the third round there. I know a lot of people thought maybe their first round pick, that number 13, they might take a tight end or a wide receiver. Went with bolstering that defensive line, which I think is more important than people realize, to actually, have more of an established front seven, as opposed to, relying on the back end, relying on the, the pass rushing of Rashawn Gary, whoever it be. But you lost, kind of had a decline the last couple of years and lost Dean Lowry. So it did fill more of a need than people realized. Lucas Van Ness there. And then picking up a couple tight ends and receiver in the second and third rounds there was, in my opinion, solid there. Need to fill that chest a little bit, get some flexibility with both those tight ends and a little bit of different skill sets. That was something that with Tanya leaving, going elsewhere in the division and leaving, they obviously needed to fill that up a little bit. So I was interested. The Sean Clifford pick, obviously I'm a Big Ten guy, so I get a Big Ten backup quarterback. It was never the biggest Sean Clifford fan from that type of perspective, but we'll see how that goes. But Jordan Love getting the extension today, so he's going to have the reins for a couple of years at least here, Jordan Love, obviously. So needed to, I'm not surprised, especially obviously They passed on the tight ends and receivers that were available at 13, but none of those guys went, at least off the top of my head. I don't think any of those guys went until 21, 22, 23 anyways. So might have been more of a reach than people were kind of putting it at it, prior as far as mock drafts and whatnot. So not mad at it at all. It's obviously not overwhelming, not slapping anything not slapping anybody in the face on paper here, getting 8+ all across the board or anything. But I think it was solid. Had plenty of picks in the middle, so it went offensive heavy a little more than they have in the past 10 years or so. So, I was happy with it. Nothing crazy, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what do we got with Jordan Love once September rolls around, really.
Well, and we don't say this often, but the favorite in most people's eyes in your division is the Lions. And I had them tagged with Witherspoon, and they trade back to 12. Actually, they trade back 12. Funny thing is, they were sitting, I thought, in the catbird seat, and here's why: is the number 2 cornerback was the kid that the Patriots got, Christian Gonzalez from Oregon. So I was like, okay, here's their move. They're going to grab him, and then later down, I had talked for weeks about the Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama, the running back that was going to move up into the first round. Whenever they drafted him, I'm like, whoa, guys, you missed a huge opportunity here. You grab the quarterback, and then you get Gibbs further back in your 17th, 18th pick. Had Julian Edlow on today, had Pop DiBiase on today. And the truth of the matter is that there were 3 teams tied to Gibbs. And the real truth per Julian was the Jets at 15 were grabbing Gibbs there. So they were going to go with the dual tandem of Breece Hall and Gibbs. So Detroit caught on to that, move up, grab Gibbs there. I am a huge fan. Now, the fact that Jamal Williams had already left the stable and they had enough. Listen, I love Swift. I do. Yeah. I've had him every year, but he can't stay on the field. And they move him to Philly, who had moved on from Sanders. So Gibbs, excuse me, is going to be a force to be reckoned with. But your thoughts with the Lions there, because they didn't get Raven reviews with the Campbell pick after.
No, and it's as far as, because I completely agree. You and I went to the Packers-Lions game in Week 18, and then afterwards we were talking about the Bears getting the 1 pick and Bears fans losing their mind, and you and I both agreed. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about the next 5 years plus of the Detroit Lions, because they destroyed the draft last year almost unquestionably with what they have, and there's a very good chance that who they got last year is going to progress and be even scarier this year. So, no, I was surprised by it as well. My personal philosophy, and this isn't to disagree with the pick of Gibbs or to say that he couldn't be, the best running back in the league for the next 10 years. He could be. I personally am not someone who agrees with drafting running backs necessarily in the first round. That's just my personal philosophy as an NFL draft, watcher, but that doesn't mean he can't be fantastic. I just think it's given the time and resources, it's easier to find plenty of pieces at running back to where you can find like you said, a cornerback or something along those lines. So I as far as the Gibbs pick, again, as I say that, he probably is going to be, the best running back in football for the next 10 years or something like that. And I'll be eating my words as far as that is concerned. But no, I was interested to see that. I thought they might take another swing at adding 1 or 2 more pieces at the top of the draft to their defense. But at the end of the day, I still have the same feelings towards them coming into this year. I am much more afraid of them and think they will just be flat out good. I think the Vikings will regress. I think the Bears will get better, but I think they're still another year away from really being a force to be reckoned with, if at all. So hoping the Packers can kind of come in as under the radar team. Jordan Love surprises a few people, and their defense maybe gets back to where people thought they were coming into last year with a little bit more depth and health. But no, at the end of the day, I thought the Lions were fine with the draft this year, and still have themselves set up to be a really good team in the NFC and probably the favorite in the NFC North for sure. The only thing you didn't mention, pairing Gibbs with David Montgomery out of the NFC North, I thought was really solid there, and a really solid running back there. So I still do like what the Detroit Lions are doing overall, 100%.
And I talk about the Bears trying to emulate the Eagles, where, again, Justin Fields makes that Jalen Hurts jump. How did they do that? Well, they added an A.J. Brown. They bolstered up the offensive line, the emergence of Devontae Smith, a healthy Goddard, whatever you call him, and the rest is history. So again, offensive line was going to be a key, and that's what the Bears do to protect Fields. And now in that trade, they added DJ Moore. Now, I'm not calling DJ Moore AJ Brown, but again, that was a good add to start. So I still think the Bears and Fields will not take that next leap that Philly did, but it was still, they're moving in the right direction.
Oh, 100%. And like I completely agree with you. They just had so many holes. If you go back and look, their defense was dead last in the NFL. It got better at the end of the year compared to where they were early in the year. But, yeah, and they still, they can't do enough to help their offensive line there. Obviously lose Montgomery, but, running back, I think they'll be fine there. But I agree with you on the DJ Moore pick. And again, I think they will be more improved. I think they'll win because they obviously were in a lot of games last year, and I think they'll win some games. I think at the end of the day, their defense is, barring any other big moves, I think their defense is probably still going to struggle quite a bit this year. And then after that, going forward, then, they could be in business for sure. I do like what they are doing as far as roster building, though, at this point in where they are in their rebuild for sure.
Surprised at the Vikings first round pick?
Refresh my memory. I'm drawing a blank, honestly. It's been a few days.
Wide receiver.
Oh, yes, that's right. I definitely was surprised by that one, considering where their defense was. I mean, you can say how lucky they are, a million times over. At the end of the day, their offense was still good last year. I was very surprised that they didn't get some type of, make any type of aggressive moves to help their defense. Obviously, maybe they think the change of defensive coordinator is, the most they need to do, and they'll be all right. But I was surprised by that one for sure.
And I'll just go on record. It wasn't in my listen. Next year, Marvin Harrison, first round pick, first wide receiver off the board, will definitely be a top 10 pick. There's no Marvin Harrison in this year's draft, and I will go on record that of the first round 4 wide receivers that went, Zay Flowers will outshine all the other 3.
I'm not going to hate on you there. Going into the season, obviously I was high in college football season on Jackson Smith and Jigba, but I'm not disagreeing with you at this point by any means. I mean, if Smith and Jigba can stay healthy, I think he's certainly a very talented player. But I am not going to disagree with you at all, and obviously that's he needs to pan out for the obviously with the Ravens giving Lamar cracking down and giving Lamar his money for the next however many years it is, on 5, 6 years, whatever it is.
Well, I had to be comical here because he's about an hour and 15 minutes at Chestnut Hill. Saw a lot of Zay. Zay it isn't so here, but the comparisons they were using to Tyreek Hill, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. He's no Tyreek Hill, but for what the Ravens need, and yes, they do have Bateman and they have someone else that I'm drawing a blank, but they're always hurt. The fact is they add OBJ, who's always hurt or will be hurt at some point, and I'm not rooting it for him. But the fact is Zay stays healthy. Between the other 3 often injured wide receivers, he is going to be a focal point with Mark Andrews in that offense.
Yeah, I imagine Duvernay is the other one you were thinking, young guy that could develop. That's the other one there. I just looked it up for you. No, I'm with you 100% there, and obviously Lamar Jackson and his health and continuing to build around him is obviously what's derailed them the most the last couple of years. So, interested to see how it goes. I'm trying to think of any Bills get Dalton Kincaid. That was an interesting one there. If he can pan out, that's obviously a big resource for their offense there.
No doubt it is. So we digressed. I'm going to start here. I'm going to give you a layup, no pun intended. Heat and Knicks numbers been inflated for a reason. Morning number was 6.5 for the tour, 7.5. Now 7 across the board, 208 at Circa. That number is inflated for Mr. Butler. Now the Heat steal game 1. Why risk injury? You got the split. You saw what the Celtics did without a star. Maybe you can steal tonight's game there. Thoughts on that game?
Yeah, it's. I expect the Knicks to even it up one way or another. Honestly, I don't expect it to be. It wouldn't surprise me if Jimmy Butler plays. Honestly, to some degree, I think he should. If it's unless he's 100% fine and ready to go, then I think he should. I think it would be wise to sit this one out. As much as I don't like the load management and whatnot, I don't think this is the same situation. But you also got the great equalizer, Scott Foster, on the refereeing tonight, and I think it would be beneficial for this one to not be a quick 5-game series. So that's not why I'm saying the Knicks are going to win, but that didn't hurt by any means as far as the whole equalizer in the building for this series here tonight. But no, I think the Knicks will even it up. I think they're a team that, especially at home, they're not going to be a team that rolls over and dies. As hot as this Heat team is playing, as hard as they're playing. So I don't know. Do you feel like if Jimmy Butler is in and this number is still that high, then I'm definitely saying Knicks take care of business. But if he's not, and this is still the line doesn't really change at all, is that a scrappy Heat team that could actually take care of business tonight?
It's so funny because the number is so inflated that it's comical. It's past comical. So if I'm just doing the numbers right now and as I speak, so 107, 101. So when you look into your 107, that's 6, so it's not even. Here's my question. Did they give you 99 for a Miami Heat team total? 99 and a hook?
I see 100.5.
100.5. And so they gave you the 107.5 or 107 for. I think everyone thinks these two teams is defense and they'll sneak it over. So if you like the Heat today, I tell you to take the team total over if you like the Heat today.
I can't disagree with that at all. I've been picking my spots at the NBA playoffs really, really sporadically and specifically, and so it's probably not a spot that I'm going to jump into, but with the injuries going on. But nothing would surprise me in this one. I'll lean towards the Heat, I'll lean towards the Knicks winning and evening it. But beyond that, I don't have much of a feel for it right now.
Okay. Lakers Golden State game 1 overnight, a 4 and a 228. Circa right now, as we speak, has just bumped it up to 5 with a 227, 4.5 across the Vegas Strip, 4.5 at DraftKings. Where I want to go with this is Golden State and the Kings. Kings home court advantage. Golden State minus 290 to win that series. And we all know the woes that Golden State had trying to win on the road. Well, they showed early. Well, guess what? They steal game 5. They have a chance to wrap it up in game 6. They lose game 7. Curry puts on a show, and they win. Here's where I'm going with this. Golden State minus 145 to win the series. Lakers plus 125. I was born at night, not last night. They're begging for Golden State series money. My money is on the Lakers in this series. Your thoughts?
I can't put it too much better than that, especially when you put this Warriors team as the home court advantage. I picked against them a couple times, or I think it was second game that was in Sacramento, because of how terrible they were on the road. And so now, obviously, everyone knows how good they are at home. So to give them the home court advantage and then still have it shift like that, it was eye-opening to me as well. So I'm with you as far as this Lakers team kind of being a different team right now, far different than where they were in the regular season. We go back to you and I around whatever it was, trade deadline or whatever. They had a couple of smaller trades that you're probably still not even talking about these guys when you're breaking down the Lakers on a surface level, Hachimura being one of them, but had a couple moves that they've made in the past 15 years of their franchise where maybe they're not the finished product halfway through the season, and then by the time the playoff rolls around, some of these role players are playing really solid minutes and having some solid contributions. That's kind of how I see it right now with this Lakers team, just being so much more of a complete team and making more sense as a basketball team on the court. So throw in some extra motivation and what seems like a healthy LeBron and Anthony Davis, and motivated and rolling at the right time. And going to that extra gear in LeBron's case, I'm kind of with you as far as in the series as far as the Lakers. I'm not sure what your feel is for this game tonight necessarily, but I'm with you as far as I think the Lakers have a very good chance of taking this series.
Team totals, did they give you 4.5, 27? What did they give you? Like 16 for Golden State and 11 for the Lakers?
I see I see a handful of different options. 115.5 over -120. Some options are 116.5 around +100. And then mostly I would say 111.5 for the Lakers.
So there was obviously an adjusted move as we were getting onto this game with Jeffrey Benson, with Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Stevens, hello, at the Circa. I think this game finds a way to stay under. I expect Golden State to win. Here's what I'm going to tell everyone also is if you like the Lakers in the series, you can play this one or two ways here. You can put the unit on the Lakers right now, plus 125, plus 130 in your shop. If you think they're going to, and the mentality, the hard part for people is this. If I told you to save a half a unit for them, assuming they lose, so you got them plus 130 right now. If they lose tonight, you're going to get them around plus 200. Well, Jeff, now you got to say they got to win 4 out of the next 6 games. That's correct. Right. That's correct. So my point is, if the Lakers stole game 1, now they're going to be minus 150 in to win the series. So my point is this is if you go in today and you want to take them for a half unit today plus the 130, go ahead. And if they lose tonight and now they're 4.5, 5-point favorites, then you go back and put another half unit on them plus the 200, 190, plus 210, whatever you get. And now you got them in 2 prices because even if they don't get a split, even if they lose the first 2 game, guys, we know the road woes for the Warriors, okay? A series doesn't start until one of the road teams wins on the opponent's home court.
Right.
So if you like the Lakers, just trust the process here. You can put a full unit on them just in case they win tonight, but you can put a half unit on them plus the 130. If they lose, you go back, put another half unit on them at plus the 190. Worst case scenario, you get back to Staples, or I was going to call it the Forum, and down 0-2, where they're going to be favored in both games, and they're going to hold, we hope, hold home court.
Right, and that's kind of what I was going to say. And it's a harder pill to swallow when it's the Warriors, and you know it doesn't matter what you saw in the regular season. You're still not. It's hard to believe that they can be that bad. It's still in the road to the playoffs, but they lost the first 2 games on the road in Sacramento. It was it took a lot of the Game 7 experience pushed them over the edge. It was a good game for most of it, and then you have the Game 7 experience up against an inexperienced Kings team in that situation. So I'll go. I think you and I are kind of on the same page, just kind of saying the Lakers could, if not should, win the games 3 and 4 in LA in this series, whether or not they win or lose these first 2 games.
All right. I'm going to go over the hockey here quickly. Florida Panthers and Toronto ECSI VIP members are holding Toronto Eastern Conference champs. They're holding Stanley Cup champs with the Maple Leafs. We also have Western Conference champs Edmonton, and we do have a Stanley Cup ticket on Edmonton as well. I wrote in the alert, I think the Leafs win the Cup in 6. I thought the Leafs would beat the Bruins here in this spot. So with that said, obviously I expect the Maple Leafs to win this series. Panthers playing with house money. I think series price, do you have a series price on the Leafs right now?
I'll get it in 2 seconds for you. I see on FanDuel minus 184 for the series for the Leafs.
All right, so that's too high for me to give out. I think you can get them at even money to win the series in 6, minus 1.5. I would suggest that. I'm not going to give you a minus 180 there. So that's where I stand there. Dallas, on the other hand, is minus 190, minus 200. Again, I'm not going to give that out. I expect Dallas to win. I thought we gave out the Kraken on Sunday, and we gave out the Panthers on Sunday. And so my thought process here is Dallas wins, and you can get them minus a game and a half to win in 6 or less at around even money as well there in that series.
I like it. You know me. I'm not the hockey guy. I told you off the show. My entertainment was Patrick Kane and the Rangers, and then obviously we know how that went. So yeah, I it's been fun to watch though. The obviously teams that are fans of Boston and Colorado aren't saying the same thing, but from a neutral fan, it's been very fun to watch.
Tomorrow, Edmonton and Vegas start, and Edmonton favorite on the road at Vegas there. And Edmonton, I think, is a minus 150 in that series. Here's the shocker of all shockers. Devils against Carolina. Carolina with home ice. And the Devils are minus 130 to win that series. Now, I almost fell off my stool. I was shocked. Shocked at that price. Never mind, I thought the Rangers would be playing these guys anyways. But the fact of the matter is the Canes are in the exact same spot that they were last year. This is going to be the first 1 to 3 wins, maybe an empty netter to 4. If you like the Devils, I'm almost like you could probably wait, hope the Canes win the first game, and then you can get the Devils at plus money. But they're telling me the Devils are winning that series, and I got a night to sleep on this because I was shocked.
No, yeah, and obviously I'm not the hockey guy, but it is eye opening to some degree for sure. And I don't think there's any other way around that. It is interesting to see that that price. I'm seeing minus 122 on FanDuel, but take that for whatever it's worth.
All right, the baseball field is yours, sir.
All righty, let's switch gears up here. I don't know. I've got some notes on some. I imagine we'll skip by a few of them here. But first one up, I believe, Atlanta and Miami. Elder and Alcantara. This Miami team, I've got them over 76.5 wins, I think, 16-13. It's looking okay right now. Obviously, I'm not punching my ticket at 16-13, but obviously it's been a little better than the way it started. But anyways, Elder and Alcantara. Elder's been solid so far. Last out, I think was one of his, I think the most runs he given up, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, and it was against this Miami team here, so second time around. And Alcantara, 1 bad start, and then 3 earned runs or less in the others. Let's see, feeling good. Miami favorite up against the big bad Braves here. What are you feeling with this one? You and I have talked about not really believing it, or not. I shouldn't say not believing in them, but not taking the Marlins when they're a favorite, and taking them in certain dog spots. Is that where you're feeling today with Mr. Alcantara only minus 120?
Well, you say only minus 120. And when I think of Elder, I think of the golfer from way back, Lee Elder. I don't know who Mr. Elder is here from Atlanta, but the fact that the Atlanta Braves are dogs, and so they played a doubleheader yesterday. We sat back and waited for the results of the first game. We had the Mets first 5 in the second game. We win that one. What I used to do with Alcantara was his starts. They were so high priced as I tried to dive into the first 5. So I think it's a statement that they're favored, first of all. Second of all, it's against the Braves. Now, Alcantara struggled to start the year. He has started to pitch better. My question to you is, what is the first 5 number on Alcantara?
It's minus 142, so quite a bit more confidence in that department there.
What is he minus a half run?
Minus 102, not even money.
So my play to anyone that wants to back Miami, and you got to actually, and here's the big question is first at bat, second game, Acuna got hit, and was replaced. Is Acuna in the lineup? Do you know if that's the case?
I see him in that. Yeah, he's leading off. Yep, he's leading off.
Good for him. Okay. Uh, any Miami backers, I would take a swing with them minus a half run, first 5 minus the 102.
No, I don't dislike it. I mean, 3 home runs against Elder last week, so maybe they've got his number and put out a couple more there. So their offense has been working, though. We were laughing at them early in the season because they were continuing in from last year, and they're picking it up a little bit, the Miami Marlins there. So let's see. I don't know about you, but Mets and Detroit, anything to talk about there? This pitching matchup is a little goofy. You've got Lucchesi, third start, first 2 good. Maybe times for some regression. Not sure what your thoughts are. And then Lorenzen is a little all over the place. 6 earned runs, 0 earned runs, and 5 earned runs. What's any thoughts on this one at all, or are we moving past it?
You know, the funny thing is, I'm thinking Mets road, 27 guaranteed outs and at bats against the Tigers team that I don't have a good feel for them. My point is, this is huge. Was Haney pitching for Texas tonight?
I didn't think so.
No, because it said change. Okay, that must have been for tomorrow because I was saying Gallen's pitching tonight and they got PFAADT, whoever that is. So that'd be for tomorrow. So there was a pitching change for tomorrow. Gray's pitching tonight. Okay, apologies there.
Sorry.
The thought process on the Mets tonight was to look at their team total. Now, I don't like playing the minus 136s. I'm seeing it wager talk 4.5 over. So my question to you is that what you're seeing too?
I see you might find some public shops that'll give you a flat 5 for minus 110.
Okay. That was my point, is if you could get over the 5 at plus money, I would lean there, the Mets. But again, double header and then travel. I don't know how they're feeling, but I like the Mets team total over today. But again, I don't want to lay the 136, guys. If you can get that at even number money at a 5, I'm assuming DraftKings will give you the 5.5 today and you need the touchdown. That's where my eyes are.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's probably a fair thought there for sure. There. Let's see. Cleveland and the Yankees. We'll skip over a couple unless you want to circle back. Cleveland and the Yankees.
You know what? We didn't talk about your White Sox, and I know they're struggling. But here's what I want to say, because we know cancer. And I coached a lot of baseball in my life, and I coached a lot of basketball. And when you get one bad apple, what they want to do is they want to grab the next one, and it begins to be a cancer. It starts to grow. So when you're playing bad, you get one guy sulking, and then he grabs another guy. Then you got 2 guys. And my question is, what happened, I think, on Saturday or Sunday with Luis Roberts, just walking down the line, and then he was pulled. So can you give everyone watching and listen, can you give us a temperature on what the hell's going on in Chicago?
The temperature is not good. I had a wedding this weekend, so I didn't get to watch that one super closely, if I'm being completely honest. But as you mentioned, some people thought in the moment it might be injury, but no. And there was some of that last year too with him, and he's just so. There needs to be some example set, because going back to last year, there's 2 or 3 other guys. Yohan Moncada is another one that will be kind of dogging it or sulking when things aren't going well or aren't going his way too. So I'm glad the example has been set. But the temperature is not good, obviously, at 8-21, even after a wild win on Sunday or whatever it is now. Because you just have so much dysfunction and an ownership and front office that isn't giving us any confidence whatsoever. And now you have another year of a core that was supposed to be, the next, decade of White Sox baseball that just hasn't really progressed and is honestly progressing the wrong way as far as discipline is concerned. So, Luis Robert had a hot start for through the first week, and now I think his OBP is below 250 if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at the numbers the last few days, but no, the temperature is not good, Jeff. So we need to win about 10 out of 12 here to to salvage something. But it gives a test to Pedro Grifol, our new manager, who apparently was supposed to, who glowing recommendations as far as who he is in the clubhouse. So curious to see how it goes, but obviously, if this thing continues to trend this way, then there's going to be some changes at the trade deadline to some degree, whether it's massive or, maybe a couple small tweaks with some guys that you might not expect.
Well, that was my next question. Do you have expiring contracts? Do you have trade pieces? Are there names already being floated? Listen, I knew once you pulled the plug and Abreu skipped town and went to Houston, he was a big core on, just plug and play, 270, 130. We know what he's going to get, and we know how he is in the clubhouse. Who is taking leadership in the clubhouse, number one? Number two, are there some pieces that are going to be attractable if this train keeps going this way come the deadline?
As far as leadership, I mean, a guy like honestly, the biggest way that I would say that they might turn it around, a guy that has shown leadership in the past is Liam Hendricks, but he hasn't been there. Obviously, he's been battling cancer. So if he comes back and is like, "What the hell are you guys doing? I just freaking beat cancer and I just worked my ass off, and now I'm back here." Maybe that would be the fire that sparks everything from a leadership standpoint, because you have so many young guys that aren't from here, that are trying to still acclimate to new teammates and whatnot. So from a leadership standpoint, Elvis Andrus to some degree, I guess. Tim Anderson kind of does it by his quiet demeanor to some degree. So there really is no true leadership from that standpoint. As far as I don't know. Expiring off the top of the head is not a good list. If Lance Lynn can put something together and bounce back from his ugly start, that could be a potential trade piece to some degree. I believe Lucas Giolito is one of the expiring contracts, but that's obviously not a very hot commodity on trade markets right now. If someone thought that they could turn around Luis Robert or someone else like that, then they might find a nice trade piece in that from that sense. But our development is just so ugly. I would hate to see Luis Robert go somewhere else and then finally turn into the 5-tool all-star that I've been screaming from the mountaintops for 5 years. So things are grim. I mean, Andrew Vaughn obviously had to walk up the other day. That would still be the piece that I think could turn into a really good consistent header, along with Eloy Jimenez if he could stay healthy. But yeah, I could go on and on. I mean, Tim Anderson, I guess. Actually, Tim Anderson is probably the best answer of who would probably be the most enticing to a team. Would probably be Tim Anderson hitting 300 in whether that's a team needs it at the top of the lineup or the bolster seventh spot in their lineup. I guess Tim Anderson would probably be my best answer of who they would probably trade this offseason or midseason.
No, and then you brought up the names Lynn and Giolito again, especially come the All-Star break. These guys are looking for arms that aren't doing well, but they have a name. They know if they're on that they can do something for them in the playoff stretch and hopefully get them to a playoffs there. And it would suck, if a Tim Anderson or a Luis Roberts left the barn, and next thing you know, you see them excelling like Xander Bogaerts in San Diego for us Red Sox guys, right, and some of the other players. So all right, that's a good temperature. Onward, James.
Well, let's move right into it, and we can circle back around if we have to. As far as today, what do they have? 10-game losing streak, 11-game losing streak, one on Sunday. Is that enough? They had a day off. Is that enough to think that they could go back-to-back here, my friend, for one of your streak rules here?
Well, I can tell you this. If you look up the starts, Joe Ryan, and you look at the run support this guy gets, I go back to the time he started in New York. They gave him 9 in the first. I know his last start, I think it took them a few innings because they played the Yankees again, but they put up 6 for him. They score early and often for this guy. Now you get a guy like Kopech on the mound who's hit or miss. So you'll know early which Kopech it is, because I'm telling you right now, and we'll talk about this tomorrow night on the show, they're going to put up a touchdown for this kid sooner or later. It's a matter of time, but they score a bazillion runs for this kid.
Yeah, and as far as Kopech, I mean, he has been as bad can be. I think he's had one good start, maybe one okay start. I do think he'll probably have a stretch where he's looking solid at least through 5 innings. this season. I don't think I don't think he's just all of a sudden a 6.7 ERA guy. He does have some talent, but it obviously is not looking good. He's a guy that doesn't have the strongest mental track record of keeping his head on straight, and if things go wrong, it gets worse. So, no, I don't know. I would say, I guess I would feel confident about the offense if Joe Ryan wasn't looking as good as he was. So, it's a big fat I don't know as far as tonight is concerned over here. I'll settle for 2 out of 3 here.
A big fat I don't know. I like that. My true number was a 150 and an 8 and a hook. Now currently 165. You can grab your pale hose at plus 150 and a 9 under. I'm pulling for you. I really am. Because listen, the summers suck when the baseball teams aren't playing good. And the sad thing with my Red Sox is this: it's win 2, lose 3, win 3, lose 2. We're not going anywhere. It's injury after injury after injury. We need Balo. He's back. And then we needed Whitlock. He came back. Now he's hurt again. And it's just one thing after another. And I just know at the end of the year, we're going to be looking at 78 and 82. Or it's just it. We can't compete with Tampa. We can't compete with Toronto. And we can't compete with New York. And for you, there was a possibility that you could get some Cleveland regression and some Minnesota regression. And when you're looking up and you're 12 games out and it's just May, I mean, what the hell are we going to do?
Right. And so far you've gotten the Cleveland regression. You just got hope. But from experience, whenever the Twins have a year like this where their offense looks like it's going to be cooking along, it doesn't maybe it regresses in September or something along those lines, but it's certainly they have a way of stringing together full seasons of offensive production together at a time. So, the White Sox need to worry about themselves before they can go worrying about anyone else right now. So, moving into Cleveland and the Yankees was one I wanted to talk about tonight. I don't know how to pronounce his name, BB. Hopefully he's throwing some BBs for their sake. Versus Garrett Cole. This is BB's second start. 5 2/3, 6 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 8 Ks, first time in his debut against Colorado. And Garrett Cole is looking like Cy Young so far. 5 earned runs over 40 2/3 innings. Are you staying away from the Garrett Cole train, or are you expecting some regression and at some point to the point where you might even be, whether it's tonight or down the road, you might actually fire away and bet against Garrett Cole, expecting some regression at some point here?
Something smells here. The overnight number was 185 with the 7. There's been a correction, and now I'm seeing it as low as 151 at circa right now, 156. You can grab the Guardians at plus 142. A 7 now juiced over minus 15 cents. The BB kid we picked up this week because we needed drastic help to our pitching staff, and we're in last as we speak. We grabbed Taj as well a couple weeks ago, and now he got sent to the minors, pulled the tantrum, gave up 6 runs, so he's not loving life either. Something doesn't, the Yankees and all their injuries, Judge on the IL, they too cannot hit out of a paper bag. The Guardians are the same. Well, we put them on the shelf. We haven't touched them in almost 2 weeks because we were like 1-5 with them with team totals, first 5, yada, yada, yada. Cy Young, Cole. The only way you could play this is them minus a hook, first 5. And humorly, tell me what that number is tonight.
First 5 minus the hook is minus 130. They're giving you plus money on the other side, giving the Cleveland the hook.
Yeah, if you like the Yankees today, the only way I would go, but I ain't laying the 30 cents minus a hook, and we have to be winning. Ties we lose, so I'm staying away.
Yeah. I'm not going to go out and predict the regression, but people in the past play Cole very aggressively, looking for some regression, but it's kind of at a point where you need to see it first before you can really feel comfortable, in my opinion. So I'm with you there. Let's see. Hopping over to the Red Sox, they are hosting Toronto. Kikuchi versus Houck. Kikuchi 4 good starts so far, 1 bad. Hauk, 3 earned runs or less in each of his starts, but only made it past 5 innings once. These two teams didn't play yesterday. They did play yesterday. That's right. Barrios. 6-5 Boston win. You thinking they go back and forth the other way today, or is this going to be? Are they giving Kikuchi too much credit here on these opening, or I shouldn't say opening lines, on the current lines right now?
Well, I've been waiting for the Kukuc regression. I liked him in Seattle. I didn't like the move. I understood the move for Toronto here, and I've been waiting for the regression. I haven't seen it. My overnight number was minus 120 with a 9.5. Now 128 with a 9.5 juiced under. It's been raining and drizzly all day here. I'm about an hour south of Fenway Park. I assume the game's going to get in. My team total here, I'm seeing 4.5 over, minus 135 for Toronto. The Sox are 4.5 juiced under, minus 120. I would expect a bounce back from Toronto. I really would here. But with that said, I guess you could get into Toronto tonight if you wanted to lay minus 128. I might feel more comfortable with their team total. I don't know what you're seeing for team totals.
As far as Toronto is concerned, you might find a shop that's giving you a 5.5 at plus money.
You need the touchdown. And as I'm saying, I'm waiting for the Kukuc regression as well. I think Toronto can get a touchdown today and get the plus money. If you can get it at 5 even money, God bless you. I don't believe in Hauk. I believe in the Toronto offense. I don't believe in the Sox back end as well. It was 9.5 for a reason. Someone's getting the 5 or more tonight, and I would lean Toronto does, but this could be the spot for Kukuc in the regression. And I'm not trying to play both sides here.
No, I hear you, though. It absolutely, it's going to happen eventually with Kukuc there. So moving on, this one you mentioned, Gallen is, you mentioned his name, and I'll bring him up here. Arizona and Texas, Gallen versus Gray. 2 bad starts to open things up for Gallen. Not a single run allowed in 4 starts, 26 innings, I believe, and only 1 walk, I think, during that stretch. Gray hasn't been bad himself, but certainly nothing along those lines. 3 earned runs or less in his last 5 starts here. Arizona, both teams above 500. Nice starts for both of these two teams for the most part here. Gallen minus 150. Need a little more confidence, or is that kind of fair given how well this Texas offense is going? What do you read on this one as far as odds? I'm still trying to find my footing with these.
Did I lose you? I know you froze on. Let me see if you bounce back here. I don't know if anyone can hear me. My overnight number here on Texas and Arizona was minus 120. It's been inflated now to 150. Gallen has been absolutely lights out. This Ranger team has also been playing well. Kind of surprised to see them and Gray as a dog and Arizona as a favorite here. If I was to dive into the Arizona side, I definitely would. Riley has just lost power, guys. So apologies there. Let me backtrack here. Arizona, as a road favorite in Texas is an eye opener. So again, if you want to get into Arizona tonight, minus a half, minus the first 5 is the way I would go there. And I'm going to pull up this. So now I have to do this. Bear with me, guys. First 5 and spread. Arizona, you can get right now minus 18 cents, minus the hook, first 5. So that's way I would lean there if you wanted to get into that game. San Fran at Houston tonight. D. Scafani versus Mr. Brown. Houston minus the hook. First 5 is minus 35 cents. That's the way the sharps are going on that game there. The pesky Pirates are in Tampa tonight. Let me see who's going. Guerrero versus Contreras. You can get the Rays minus the hook, first 5, minus 16 cents. It's actually people taking the Pirates plus the half here, minus 4 cents there. Trying to see any first 5 full games. I'm going to go to one full game for you here. Let me switch sheets. Urias versus Strom. Phillies at the Dodgers. Opening number of minus 185. Now down to 150. Some money coming in on the Phillies there. And Milwaukee and Colorado. Milwaukee minus 160. Now 161 at Colorado. Peralta versus Feltner there. I lead Milwaukee first 5. I also like their team total. You need to get them to a touchdown tonight, though. Let me make sure that one. I think they get there. Their team total, full game, Milwaukee. Let me see here. Milwaukee needs a touchdown today and an extra point, but you can get that plus 118. So that will be the cherry on top today. Milwaukee team total to get to 7 is plus 118. Some shops offering you the big juice to get to 6. Don't pay the juice. If you can get them at even money or plus money to get to 6, 6.5, that will be the play. Riley, thank you. Thank you. He has lost power. I myself, Mr. Dawson at EC Sports Invest, thank you here. If you're listening, shout out to Eddie Gillis. Your Leafs made it. You're in the second round. Do us proud. Big game tonight against the Panthers. Everyone enjoy the action. It's everywhere tonight. NBA, NHL, MLB. Tomorrow, 3:30, Ron at 8 Sports. Myself and Riley back here at 4:30. And Brady Cannon at 6 o'clock to break down the PGA. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Connor. Thank everyone that watched and listened. Without you, there's no ECSI. Have a great night. If you need us, holler. Come find us. We'll see you soon.